What's going on, my fellow viewers and subscribers? It's your boy, the Black Kakashi, and I just want to say Happy Halloween. I hope you're spending it watching horror movies, eating candy, watching people stream horror games, and all that good stuff. Now, today's spooky video is going to be about my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. If this is your first time being here, hit the like button and subscribe. So without further ado, let's get it in. My number 10 is The Conjuring. I remember how popular this movie was at the time of its release. It literally gave me chills as I was watching it. Now, I'm not a fearful type of guy when it comes to horror and all that stuff. Like, all my friends can vouch for it. They know I'm not really afraid of a lot of things, and horror movies in particular. So when I told them that this movie almost scared me, they knew they had to go see it. This movie, you know, kind of brought horror movies back in the terms of being good again, mainstream wise. Now, correct me if I'm wrong about that, because I know they had some other bangers around that time as well. My number 9 is Insidious, another paranormal film that brought those chills back into my body. Insidious was the first movie to bring the chills back, and then The Conjuring was the second. Now, I didn't see this movie in theaters, but I downloaded it and watched it on my computer with the surround sound bass to it and shit. And that shit had a nigga shaking like a stripper. From the eerie music and that red-faced demon, like y'all know what song I'm talking about from the movie that did that loud-ass noise. Anyway, I think the movie should have stopped after the second one, because that was the last good one. My next one on the list is Blair Witch Project. Not the game, the movie. The first one, at least. The movie that started the whole found footage trend that you see in most movies today. Now, off the premise alone, this movie isn't really that scary. It's more of a suspense type of movie. Like, the only thing that made this movie scary was the actors of the movie. They somehow turned 3 people walking around in the woods trying to uncover a mystery and found a way to make that scary. Now, I'll admit the sequel was pretty good. Not the one with that guy from Burnt Notice, because that one sucked. I'm talking about the one that came out like last year or whatever year it came out. Now, I'll admit the sequel was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. And a clear reminder that it was all Heather's fault. And another thing, I don't get why people go camping and shit after these type of movies come out. Like, I was talking to one of my lady friends, and she said that like they have a whole bunch of people with them, and I said that didn't stop Jason from doing his job. You have 10, 20 people with you, Jason will still kill you all. Like, I don't care how many people you got in a group with you, or how many people are gonna be there, but if your name ain't God, I ain't stepping in no damn woods. I ain't going camping or nothing. Call it paranoia all you want. It's called being black. Now, my number 7 is Alien, the first movie. One of the greatest movies in history about people in space discovering an alien creature that's trying to kill them. Now, this one is more of a suspense and build-up type of movie. You don't really get scared to like a certain part of the movie where a character is in the corridors looking for the alien. Now, the infamous the infamous chest popper scene is what separates this movie from other movies in the franchise. Like, that is still one of the worst things that could happen to a person. Imagine having an alien creature going inside of your body, and the only way out is through your chest. Like, talking about it is making my chest hurt. My number 6 is Sinister. One of the most underrated movies to come out at the time. Now, it's about a writer trying to solve the mystery of the family that was murdered in the house that they moved in. And as the days go by, the tapes of the found footage tapes of the people getting killed, they just keep getting worse and worse until Mr. Boogie kills them. Now, this movie is legit. One of the things that separates it from other movies is the fact that the killer was hardly in the movie and was only relying on the story and the scary moments that happened in the film. Ethan Hawke did a great job in this movie. I just wish the sequel followed the same format and not suck, because I was really hyped for that movie, and when I finally was able to watch it, I was disappointed. My number 5 is Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger, the Dream Master. This movie was so iconic because at the time, the silent killers, they were the only ones getting love. But when Freddy came out, he completely changed the game. He actually talked, and the kills were fantastic. Killing people in their dreams can lead to loads of creativity of the kills, and they did a great job with that as well. One of my all-time favorite kills in the movie is Johnny Depp's death. The infamous bed scene. Him being dragged into the bed and the blood shooting up to the ceiling will always be a masterpiece. Robert Englund did a fantastic job as Freddy and will always be a horror icon. R.I.P. to Wes Craven. The next one is The Shining. One of the only good Stephen King movies, besides, the first It movie and It. I've never seen Pet Sematary, probably never will, but he might have some other good hits. Let me know if he does, because 9 times out of 10 I won't watch it, but if you say it's good, it's good. It's basically about a family being isolated in a hotel where murders and other supernatural things happened. Jack Nicholson killed this movie and practically made it, doing his vintage facial expressions and his crazy persona that we know and love today. As each day goes by, he goes mad until he explodes and tries to kill his family. His speech on the stairs the speech on the stairs while his wife is swinging the bat at him is still one of my favorite moments besides, here's Johnny, and all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Now, South Park kind of ruined the ending for me because every time I see it, I just bust out laughing, every time, from both of them. I watch The Shining, I get to the ending, I start laughing. I watch South Park, get to the ending and start laughing. That is also one of my favorite South Park episodes, just because they parody The Shining. Number 3, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One of the most popular horror movies ever. This movie is perfect from start to finish. A group of friends going on a road trip stumble upon the house of Leatherface and his cannibalistic family. One by one, they start to disappear, and the nightmare begins. Now, I know it was messed up, to root for this, but I was so glad when the guy in the wheelchair got killed because he was so damn annoying and he just had to go. My favorite scene in the movie. It's one of my favorite scenes, but another one of my favorite scenes in the movie, besides him swinging the chainsaw in the air at the end of it, was when the guy got hit in the head with the hammer and Leatherface just slams the door so viciously. Forever terrifying just because he wears people's faces. Number 2 is Scream. Another horror movie that Wes Craven made and changed the game completely. Now, Scream is my favorite horror franchise of all time. I love every single movie from it, and I actually like the TV show, except for that reboot. It kind of sucked. I didn't even watch. I watched the first episode, and I could tell who's the killer. I was like, it's not predictable. It's too predictable. I already know who the killer is. This movie was so revolutionary because of what it did to reality. This movie was the reason Caller ID was made and why some horror movies had the concept of, horror movies already existing in their movies. I own the complete edition of the movie. I own every single one. Scream 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first movie soundtrack is so nostalgic, man. I just get into a zone whenever I hear Whisper to a Scream. Because, because of how young and innocent everybody was. And then after each movie, it just got worse and worse for them. I will forever cherish the first movie. My number 1, my favorite horror movie of all time is none other than Halloween 1978, the night he came home. Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, and Dr. Loomis, the big 3 of the entire franchise. Now, believe it or not, this was the only horror movie that could actually scare me. I remember I used to own this movie. I used to own one of those DVD/VCR devices, and I will watch it whenever I can. And everybody knows that VCR audio is loud as fuck. So whenever it would be 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I would be sleeping when all of a sudden I would hear Laurie screaming when she found her dead friend's bodies. And that would scare the hell out of me, bro. I would jump out of bed every time. Another thing was, I remember having Laurie's theme song as my alarm clock for when I woke up for school. That didn't last very long. It only lasted 1 day because once I heard that shit, I had chills and was sweating like a mug. I cut my phone off so fast and said, nah, I gotta get me a different alarm. This movie was the movie, that started the title of slasher, Scream Queen, and The Final Girl. This movie can be seen as more of a thriller and suspense instead of an actual horror movie. Kind of like most slasher movies. Like they're more like a suspense and thriller. Like there's only a handful of slashers that will actually scare you. Like paranormal stuff and that kind of stuff, that's more scary nowadays. But overall, it's still a great movie. Like Scream, I own the collector's edition that has every single movie as well. Michael Myers will always be the best horror movie icon in history. There's Michael, Jason, Freddy, and then Leatherface. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and happy Halloween.